here for the final part of B tier here in the third year of the challenge series. That intro is only going to get more complicated as things go on. Anyway, yeah, we're here at pretty much the make or break race, as this one could pretty much put a lot of drivers out of reach if Barbara or Riley have a really good round here. It's Zandvoort. I always pronounce the D too much. The D is too pronounced. Oh my goodness. That's... Anyway, before I get demonetized, not that I'm making money anyway. You have to have more than 2 viewers of video to make money. Anyway, yeah, as I was saying, this is like the make or break round. If somebody with an outside chance, like Tyler or Lene, have a really good race here, they'll be back in the championship hunt with 3 rounds to go. If Barbara or Riley win this race, though, and pretty much anybody that isn't one of those top 4 cars, or top 5 cars, rather, is pretty much logically eliminated from the championship. So, the starting grid gods will either decide whether or not the championship is down to 3 people or up to 6 people, I guess, as we head into Zandvoort. Alright, the starting grid for Zandvoort, and I think the game is chosen. Riley is starting down in 13th, but Barbara's on the front row, which effectively means that that's eliminated pretty much everyone beneath Tyler. And Tyler would probably have to win the race to remain relevant, so he's going to have to somehow get a better start than Barbara, and then eventually get around Isabella. And passing at Zandvoort isn't really that easy. He did not do that. Actually, he got a terrible start, and Lene is going to go ahead of him instead, I think. Meanwhile, Barbara already has the lead and is beginning to run away with it. This is the precise opposite of what I said needed to happen. Riley also actually now in last. She also got a really bad start. Tyler did remain ahead of Lene at the very minimum. So there's that, but like, that's still not... It's not exactly the desired outcome. We just had Hansen either defending from or overtaking Travis Wild up ahead there. Yeah, this middle section of the This middle section of Zandvoort is not particularly known for its action-packed driving. There's nothing the AI ever really do there. Wayne's watching Hunter go for a move on Summers. And he didn't do anything. But I'm sure into T1 he'll probably have that Lotus pretty easy. McIntosh now finds himself in no man's land in between 2nd and 4th. He should be able to catch Isabella by the end of this lap though. The siege isn't really that great. Weaver got ahead of Sham down the main straightaway, unsurprisingly. Wheeler is just kind of following the RX-7s around, more or less. We basically got three different categories of vehicle at work here. We have the handling-based Lotus of Isabella Flynn, the acceleration/raw, power-based build that Tyler's Supra has, and then Barbara's Corvette, which has sort of the medium between the two, with the leaning towards top speed. Top three are closer together than they were at the end of the last lap, but it doesn't mean a lot. Hunter beating around the 718. Riley's finally made up a place, one singular. The better handling is definitely on the side of Isabella here, unfortunately. That doesn't get you any overtakes. If you're an AI, anyway. Like, I would have cut away by now, but these three are so close together that it's kind of like, it seems like, like something has to happen here, right? These three are like under a blanket. There's no way nothing happens, but the way these AI work, there literally could be nothing that happens. Despite the jarring difference in top speed between Tyler and Isabella's cars, and the difference between handling between Barbara and Isabella's cars, but we'll get something now. Hopefully. Well, if there's any car in this tier that can hang on the outside, it's the Lotus, especially when the person trying to pass you is high-centering themselves on the curbs. Not helping you. Wheeler missed the apex, but Hunter felt very lackadaisical about it, I guess. It is much too late now. I think look back in the field to see if anything happens. No, everyone's pretty much outstationed. this race has been an absolute stinker. And the winner of this stinker is Barbara Page, who looking like they're going to become the second consecutive rookie to win a championship. Certainly don't see Riley doing much about it from back here in 13th place. And we have points scored by Sham and Summers, so that tells you how boring that affair was, if not even those two got passed very many times. Yeah, now Barbara has a 15-point lead with only 3 races to go. It would take quite a lot for that to crumble. It's quite a battle for second, though. Though, if you're anybody Brad or lower, your chances are pretty much nothing. It's 24 points between first and sixth. But I think if Barbara has another race like that, I think we can throw any idea of either of like anybody other than her, Gina, or Riley winning the championship straight out the window. So we'll just see what the starting grid gods do at the Black Cat County circuit. Alright, we have arrived at Black Cat County for round 10. And, well, Barbara's gonna have to work for it, but she's not gonna have to work super hard. The only real competition she has that starts in front of her would be Wheeler. Riley, Tyler, Gina, Lene, they all start behind her. So, the rich get richer. I guess we are in America on this racetrack. We're in, like, Nevada, I think. Well, Hyatt didn't go super far off the line, allowing Burt Wheeler to take the lead with ease. If Sham had more horsepower in his vehicle, he probably could have taken second away, but he doesn't. But, oh boy, 3 wide between Summers, DeFrisco, and Page, and bumper cars. Admittedly, while those contacts were DeFrisco's fault, it's kind of hard to really blame him because he was kind of being squeezed between the 2 cars. He didn't exactly have a ton of real estate to work with. There goes Riley. Somebody's got to beat that yellow Corvette, or else the championship's probably going to be over before the last round even begins. Lene is trying to escape last place, meanwhile Gina just smacks the guardrail up ahead. Tyler up to 8th from 10th place. Hunter wanted to get around Sham there, but there was no room. Page will try again on DeFrisco, and still working on it. That's the sand. That sand doesn't really act like sand, I'm gonna be honest. It didn't slow her down at all when she went through it. And Barbara is still unable to make this pass finish this pass off. Now she has the inside on a hairpin, which means that it should be pretty much done. Yeah, a missed apex from DeFrisco doesn't help matters, and she's away. And Riley Blanchard approaches in the rear view. Barber just sent it in on Sebastian Sham. And unsurprisingly, that pass was made. Her next target will be another Corvette, though, so this won't be as easy to make as the other few up to this point. She might hit a wall here, as, well, when you're driving the same car as somebody, it gets harder to pass them. Why did they do that? Tyler is gonna try 7th, or try 4-7th, I should say, on DeFrisco. He's gonna get that pass done. Gina is now in last, I guess. She must have really missed a corner. Thanks to the lack of pace in Aikido's Ferrari, Burt Wheeler has already taken a 4.5-second lead. That lead will probably only increase unless Hunter gets around Keto or Barber. Somebody. As soon as somebody that isn't Hyde is in second place, that lead will not be as big. Hansen and Torini fighting for not last. And Gina will be the one that is now back out of last. Midfield is pretty quiet at the moment. There's not really a ton happening anywhere except for the Corvette Civil War. Riley makes a pretty crucial overtake on Barbara here, I would say. Barbara did shoot to the outside. That means that Riley has to be wary of that. Weird lines from all three of these Corvette drivers. Riley is still there, but she had to let off a ton to not hit the wall, so Barbara defends 4th. Riley now missing completely into that corner. How did Sham get around DeFrisco? What happened there? We shift our attention back to the battle for 2nd place, effectively. Barbara tries the outside on Hunter. This is always an interesting decision making. Unsurprisingly, she did not hang it there. It's pretty hard to do in a road car. You'd need to be in something like a GT3 for that, at least. Or maybe a touring car in some cases, but usually you need a GT3 or better for that to work. You simply do not have that on hand right now. Riley made like kind of a dummy attempt to overtake, but didn't actually go through with anything. Travis Wild defending from that ski Narashi, but that Supra's got too much handling. This big lumbering station wagon, you can't really do a ton about it. Narashi will go for 2 for the price of 1 on the Lotus Evora. She might have, she has it. Yep, she's taken the inside. She has taken this position. The Stingrays still lined up behind that GTO. Vert now extends his lead to 10.5 seconds, courtesy of Aikido's very wide Ferrari. Hunter's had enough. He's just gonna go right in there. It was time for Brad Hunter to go. He had seen everything. Natsuki has already gotten around DeFrisco while the camera was cut away. I assume down into 1. She tried the outside of the 718, but jumped the gun, maybe. She's going to try the outside again, but there's no real estate. DeFrisco not satisfied, but ultimately can't really get anything done there. Very half-hearted effort from DeFrisco to try and take that spot back, if I'm honest. enter the second half of the final lap. Hunter is way off into the horizon by this point. That's the battle for the podium between the GTO of Hyde and then the two Corvettes of Barber and Riley. Barber has made a miscalculation. Riley has arrived on her outside, but we saw before how this went. Barbara sends it on Hyde, who, in having to move up to give Barbara space, boxes Riley completely out. So Barbara turned defense into offense, and now she's in third. And we head down the hill with these weird initial DS hairpins one more time. Your last opportunity to make a desperation overtake, but nobody goes for it. Not get in the mid-pack either. And Burt Wheeler will take a commanding victory at Black Hat County. Notably, as soon as Brad Hunter did that send, he took the fastest lap of the race. Makes you wonder how that race would have turned out if that GTO were never there. Looking at the points, it is still a 15-point lead. With some luck, or putting good points on the board, Barbara can clinch the championship right here at Silverstone Classic. And, well, yeah, bottom or below 6th mathematically can't win the championship from here. If Barbara wins this race, or if Vert cannot win the race, or whatever, I don't know. These scenarios are easier to come up with when it is the final race. When it's the penultimate race, it's hard to surmise, but I mean, I know if Barbara wins the race, she is the champion, and it doesn't even matter what she does in the final round. At the starting grid for Silverstone 67, Vert is in a good spot at the moment. Barbara only starts 10th, so Vert could be in with an off chance at the championship if he can convert a win here. Gotta convert. Of course, that relies on Barbara not making up many positions during the event. Something that, not gonna lie, is kind of unlikely, but any points he can score here are crucial. The 3-wide start at Silverstone 67, so Vert will get by far the better start, and he will begin to make his escape plan. Riley and Brad Hunter fighting for basically saying that they are the fastest of row 2. Hunter will get ahead of June Summers and pretty much claim that title for his own, as we basically have alternating Corvettes at the moment. Holy crap! So, this is just what happened with DePrisco just there. He gets into the back of Hyde, and that was a spin that looked a lot more brutal from somebody else's perspective, but admittedly that wasn't really that much of a spin. That's just once again another miscalculated braking zone from Dominic, and around he goes. Makes a mess out of McIntosh and Page's cars though while he was at it. That will also severely limit their chances to score many points in this race. Why do I keep doing this? Riley has since gotten around June Summers. June, despite starting P2 in this race, would be very lucky to score anything out of this event, as Lene just goes by with like no effort. Which will become a running theme for June Summers in this event, I think. As Riley plays spectator to the battle for second place, I think Hunter will come out on top of it, but Riley sees an opportunity to get another position. The inside works, and Riley will follow Hunter right through. Having said this, Tyler and Barbara didn't really have many problems making their way back up to the field, and Tyler is now in 8th. Barbara might have followed him. No, she didn't. Barbara actually got a bit of damage from that. Meanwhile, somehow, Tyler didn't. I'm not really sure how that works. Another driver who's not having a ton of fun here is Travis Wild. His vehicle's cumbersome cornering will not be a fun adventure around the high-speed corners of this track. June and Sham are creating a massive barricade that Tyler has just found himself locked into. Behind that, Barbara sends it in on Hyde for a 9th place, and also gets Tyler as a bonus. Natsuki also follows Barbara around the outside, maybe, of the GTO, maybe not quite. The drag race towards the last turn, but I think Barbara's probably going to have a stolen 8th here. Not if Sham gets in the way. It may prove to be an inhibitor for the Corvette driver. And as Tyler's thanks for helping him keep 8th, he will now take 7th. That is not the law of equivalent exchange, but this is also a race, so yeah. This is becoming an all too familiar sight at this point. Wheeler's ahead, Hunter's second. Only difference is it's Riley running P3 at the moment, not Barbara. And certainly not Hyde, who's been absolutely robbed on this previous lap or two. Gina outdrags the 718 with ease. Natsuki alongside the Evora. No effort whatsoever, pretty much. It looks like Tyler, despite the... Oh, Tyler did have damage. The game just didn't feel like telling me about it. Yeah, despite the hold-up coming from DePrisco's terrible mistake. He's still on pace for running top 5 here at Silverstone. Or Grey Rock, as they call it. Natsuki had a big run there, but nowhere to go. Barbara closed the door. And Tyler just stole 5th place from Hansen through 1. I don't think he has time to get any more, though. If this were a 5-lap race, I would say he'd easily be able to get around Lene in time, but we don't have that 5th lap, so Isabella has overtaken Sham and Summers to promote herself into the last points paying position here. Natsuki and Barbara quickly closing in on that Countach driver, but they're only going to have a couple more corners to make something work. And Barbara, who has clearly heard me, is going to try to do precisely that through the penultimate corner. Oh my. No, there's just barely not enough room for Natsuki to try that, so Barbara will yoink away P5 or P6 from Hansen. Natsuki could not do the same, but Vert Wheeler will take a second consecutive win and barely give himself a chance at this championship at the last possible second. Timer with the fastest lap. That's becoming a familiar thing to see at this point. As we look at the final race, there's only 3 drivers that can mathematically win here. If somehow Barbara does not score, Riley wins, and Vert finishes 8th or worse, it's a tie. However, even in that scenario, I think it would be a tiebreaker. So Barbara's won multiple races in this championship, Riley has not. So in reality, it's between Vert and Barbara. Obviously, if Vert wins, Barbara needs only 3rd place to tie, 2nd for the championship. If Vert takes 2nd, Barbara needs 4th. If Vert takes 3rd, and Barbara needs 5th. And this kind of continues all the way until, well, Vert needs a top 6 to win, or to even score enough to win the championship, even if Barbara didn't finish in top 10. Can Vert steal it at the last second, or will Barbara have just feigned ignorance? And, you know, either way, it's a rookie winning their debut, so like, it's still weird either way. Well, I accidentally started the race before I hit the wrong button. So basically, you can look here and figure it out pretty much. Vert has aggressively cut into Barbara's path. Yeah, so that's basically how that went. So, if Vert makes this pass, he would have enough points to tie. So long, though, as Barbara doesn't also pass Dominic. If Barbara makes this overtake, then she's the champion, assuming she doesn't get passed by somebody else somehow. So Vert's doing his job right now. Because right now, this would come down to a tiebreaker. Now that I'm actually keeping track of stats, I know exactly how many wins each driver has. They both have 3, but if Vert takes this win, he would obviously have 4 to, you know, Barbara's 3. And he'd win the championship off the tiebreaker at 108 points. Or wait, no. 103 points. 108 is what Barbara would have if she won, not how many Vert would have if he did. Of course, Barcelona is a track that's iconic for being difficult to pass at, so... And if she ever hesitates on a move, Gina's right here to pounce on it too, so... Although she's braking so conservatively, maybe not. You're gonna have to brake a little later than that to get a position, Gina, I'm just saying. I saw something going on back here. Oh, so I'm shocked Sebastian hasn't been overtaken yet. He's got some space to hide, no less. I'd be really shocked if he finished here, but it would also be kind of funny if he did. here's kind of the first moment of truth, about an average difference between the two vehicles. Does Barber just breeze right past the Countach down the straightaway, or does DeFrisco get a little more defensive? No, it doesn't really seem to be much of a difficulty for the Corvette here. Yeah, no, not even a challenge. Alright, well that pass is made. Briscoe put in little effort to defend his second position. So, barring drastic things happening, like Barbara spinning out somehow, which the AI don't really make unforced errors in this game. Sebastian's still running P5. Natsuki's the first in line to try and, like, undo this. Yeah, so basically, Barbara is the champion. There's not a ton that can happen now that changes that. He can win the race all he wants to. Barbara's got second place, it doesn't matter. Interesting. Natsuki trying to pass through turn 9, which is usually, like, not at all how that works, but she did it anyway. And nobody crashed, so, I mean, I guess it works. Just to add to it all, Barbara is also really getting close to her, and she might be able to take the win from him outright. Which would just be a kick in the nuts. Gina has just scorched past DePrisco. She's into third. DePrisco seems to disagree, but Gina's a street racer, buddy. She can save those, and you've instead just lost places to Natsuki. And possibly even Sebastian if you don't, you know, get your act together. This guy really hasn't driven like a championship in this championship. He hasn't driven like he has a championship, rather. He won the Tier A title. And now he's driving worse than Wayne Hansen does. That would make his 5th takeout, because he took out 2 people in the first episode, 2 people in the second episode, one of them being Wayne, and technically it could be 3 if you count Lene, considering she was collateral damage. And now he almost wrecked Gina. Ay ay ay. Anybody else, Dom? Barbara's real close going into the hairpin. However, it doesn't look like she's intent on making the pass. I guess might as well not risk it, right? You've got the championship locked up. Give Bert his win. Take your title and walk home a happy little kid. And so it goes. You get through the last chicane at Barcelona. 2 Corvettes leading the race. At Barcelona, Bert Wheeler is going to be the winner. But by 3 points, he is still going to miss out on the championship, which instead goes to Barbara Page, the car directly behind. So 2 consecutive debut rookies here in year 3 of the Challenge Series. This will eventually stop, I swear. No, 2 points, actually. So yeah, by 2 points. And then from Berta was another 23 back to third in points, which was another Corvette. Brad Hunter really did not live up to the hype that the Corvettes were in this championship. While Barbara scored like 60% of the points on offer. She and Bert did. Bradley didn't even manage, like, he barely managed a third. He managed like 40%. Losing to both RX-7s and Tyler's Supra. Well, tying with his Supra anyway. That definitely goes down as like the biggest deficit between drivers driving the same car here. So yeah, that's Tier B. Championships being pretty evenly spread around here, to be honest. So then next we'll have 2 more episodes of the Twisted Invitationals. And then we get back right to it with Tier C. And I don't even remember what's in that anymore, so that'll be a surprise to me when I begin.